Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And my apologies for yesterday. I forgot to tell you I had to go and get my lab tests done again, so I do apologise. But I'm here today and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're still KS Crafty and we're using my folio set, or a couple of pieces from the folio set, but I've got a little haul, so I thought we'd test it. So I got gel elf, and I got these from AliExpress, and it's the first time I'd ever seen them. Apparently they've been around for a while, but it's a jelly plate. And what fascinated me, of course, was the price. And does it work for the price? Because I have the original jelly plate. So I've got the large jelly plate, which I don't get out very often. But I thought these would be nice because they're a nice size. So I already took this one out and gave it a wash. And you can see just how thick it is. I mean, it's flexible. So when you use these, just keep them on their backer. And I've got Forex trading stuff popping up on my computer, which I've never had before. So that's interesting. Yeah, just to digress. And I got this one out and I gave it a wash. And what I shouldn't have done is I shouldn't have wiped it down with some tissue paper to dry it off. But it shouldn't hurt it too badly in picking up anything. So that's the first one. And I think they were like $3 each or something. So quite literally half the price of what you'd pay for a branded item. And of course jelly plates have been around for hundreds of years. People used to make them out of gelatin to begin with. So these are the other shapes that I've got, so that you can make patterns on larger jelly plate if you've got one, or you can just do them as is. So I've got the triangle shape, I've got the small square, and I've got the circles. So that's a nice one if you want to do ATC coins, so, and twinches, you know, stuff like that. But that would be really good, I think, for like planning out stuff that you want to make little flaps or corners. So that's what I've got. I've got the set of 3, and I've got this one. And I am going to measure it, and I've got fluff all off that tissue, which is not very professional, but there you go. Right, let's give this a measure, because I haven't even measured it. I just wanted to wash it to make sure that there was nothing on. It's 5 inches by 3 inches. So that is a perfect size for doing my portfolio. And from my portfolio, I've actually cut 2 of the envelope pieces from the edition set, and I've cut 2 of the layering pieces from the first portfolio set. And as you can see, they fit within that jelly plate. Now I have closed my blind to stop the glare, and I've cut a sheet of white cardstock so that you can have a look there. So there's the large one that we're going to use. Now I figured most of us don't have hundreds of colours of paint. We don't have expensive paints. Well, you know, I've got a few like golden and what have you, and I have all of those big chunky paint pens, but I don't want to use anything like that because not everybody's got that. So I've decided I'm just going to go with one colour of Distress Oxide. That's all I'm going to use, Distress Oxide. And we're going to have a little demo of this little elf gel elf, whatever it's called. And I've also cut a piece of that textured cotton paper from Panalisa. So we're going to use that and see what we end up with. I've got a couple of stamps that I'm going to use as well. And I'm going to try and use this colour for the stamp again, see what we end up with. And also archival black, because I always think mustard and black look nice together because it just reminds you of bees. Right, so first of all, we're just going to get our ink pad. We're going to hold on to our jelly plate, and we're just going to drag our Distress Oxide over it. So that's the first thing that we're doing. I'm not pressing down hard. I'm just getting a real light touch onto this gel plate, so you're not hurting your hands at all. So I've done that, And now I'm going to get my piece of cotton and I'm going to go straight through the middle, and I'm just going to press that down with my fingers. You can use a sheet of cardstock onto the top of this to pull out those little stripe bits if you want to. I'm not doing that, and I'm just going to lift that off. Now you can see I've got mustard seed all over my fingers, and I'm just going to lay that onto there. Give it a good old rub and see what we end up with. I haven't got a clue what we're going to end up with, but it's going to be fun. Right, let's peel that back. Right, so there you go. We've got some pattern and texture from that piece of paper. I really like that. So next what I want to do is I want to move the gel plate out of the way, and I want to know if my oxide is going to give me a solid enough with my stamp as soon as I grab it. There it is. To be able to see it. So this is a solid stamp, and I just want to know if that oxide is going to show up darker. So let's have a go. If it doesn't, I apologise, but I'm kind of going for a sort of shadow effect, I think is what I'm looking for. So I've got that, and then I'm going to pick my stamp up and try and fit it within here. I'm going to go there. Now you can use a pressure tool if you want to do this. I'm just hoping that this ink is going to be a lot darker than what's in the background. So I'm kind of leaving it there for a bit because I want it to absorb. Right, let's get brave and lift that off. Oh, yes. So now we've got mustard seed on top of mustard seed. And I'm just going to peel that stamp off because it's going to need washing in a second. And I'm going with my top layer stamp. I'm just going to put it on here. I've got stuff all over the place today. And let's have a look what we end up with. Now you can see just how quick, you know, everything has been so far. So here's my top layer stamp, and here's my archival ink. So I'm just getting that all over the place, making sure I get a good coverage. And I have said this, I think, a week ago, that these mini archivals are really juicy. Much better than the big ones. So I don't know if I did that bit there. So now I just want to position this over that darker mustard oxide. So I don't necessarily have to be perfect. I just want to get the flowers on top of that image. And I'm just going to let that rest there for a second while I just go around and basically make sure I've touched everything I wanted to touch. And then we can have a look at that. Ooh, isn't that lovely? So you've got a lovely bit of texture, all using the same colour ink except for the black. Now I'm going to have another go with the yellow because I want to do a envelope. So I'm just going to bring that gel plate back in, and I'm going to use the oxide. And then I think that it's alright. Oh, I can see where it's coming from now. I keep getting these pop-ups from Skype News or something. Well, I certainly know that I didn't enable that. Who knows who did? Right, I think, here we go. We've got another piece of, this is from Panelisa as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my envelope down on top of here and give it a press through and see what we end up with. let's lift that off. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that great? That's almost like a giraffe. Yeah, I like that. And now I know that there's another pattern down there, and I'm just going to go looking at it in the opposite direction and see what we end up with now. So we're still staying with exactly the same colour. It's just mustard seed. And who knows what we've got now. So it's more grainy. Pattern over pattern. Ooh, I quite like that. Yeah. And now I'm going to get another stamp and pop it on there. And we're just going to stamp in black this time. So I'm just grabbing the stamp that I need. In fact, I'm going to grab a stamp and I'm going to grab a splat from this same stamp set. Now, I did get this stamp set quite a while ago from AliExpress, and I don't know whether I told you I got it or not. If it's still available, I'll link it. So I've got my little stamp on there, and I'm just going in black this time on top. And I think I'm going to go here. So I've got a little butterfly, and now I want a little ink splat. I've got to find some way of turning off the Skype, so I apologise if you can hear all the blip blips. And I think I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go a little bit up there as well. Why not? I'm just going to come off the edge here. I hope you all had a great weekend. I wasn't able to say that to you yesterday. See, that's user error, so I missed a bit there, but that doesn't matter. And I've got a little bit of ink left on here, so I might just go off the edge there. There, why not? So that's what I've done with the yellow and the mustard seed. And of course this folds up. This is meant to go onto the folio itself, but I'll just show you because it's supposed to all layer up and work together, this set. I've got humidity. We had terrible rain over the weekend. I mean, I'm sure the trees loved it, but I didn't. Now, yes, you're supposed to use your bone folder, but I'm just doing a quick thing here. So we've got this one that was real quick and easy to do, and then now I've got my little butterfly pocket that could match it. And if you use a little bit of distress ink around the edges just to highlight that that's the pocket, so I'm just popping that onto there. Isn't that lovely? Oh, I do like that. That's a great combination. Right, I'm going to go and wash that plate. I'm just going to do it with soap and water. You can use plain water if you want to. And I'll be back in a minute. And I've got another envelope and another doodah. And let's try something different. Okay, so I fixed the Skype blip and I've washed off this jelly plate. So that's what we've done so far. Now let's try something different. And I do not know if this is going to work. So I'm putting down a stencil. I'm trying to feel which is the right way. I think it's that way. So I've got my stencil down here and it does hang over. And I'm using, once again, something that a lot of us have got in our craft room. And this is the Jane Davenport pastels. So this one is the chilled palette. Now, somebody did tell me that these have all been discontinued. So you need to look on, oh, what's it called? Oh, eBay, and there's another sell site, isn't there? But if you Google it, you might get something. So they really are worth it because they're just so nice to your hands. And I'm going to go with green. And I'm also going to be using old paper distress oxide. And I do not know if it's going to work. So we're going to... we're going to find out. Right, so I'm going in with the palest green that I've got in this palette first. And I've got some chalk on here. And once again, this is not going to hurt your hands. Now, you don't have to fill up the entire image with your paler shade, because we're going to add other shades of green in here. I thought green would be quite nice for honeycomb. So I've got a lot of that pale chalk there. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of just very slightly on there. And then I'm going to go for the next one down, which is this darker green, if you've got the chilled palette. And I'm going to do quite a bit with that. So I want to fill in quite a bit. And all those empty spaces, I want to do a bit here. I think I've got a turquoisey blue in here as well, so I might go in with that. Yeah, I'm just going to flip my blending tool, and this one is the third shade, which is quite dark. And let's see what we get from that. As I said, I have not done this. I do not know if it's going to work, but I'm having some fun. So these are all quite complementary colours. And I think that maybe you can see some of that colour now that I'm using this darker one. Or at least I hope you are. Just filling in those little gaps down there. There's a little bit there. I'm not sure about that one. I'll just go in there. There. Put a little bit up in there. And I think that's it. I'll have a little bit of space there. Just have fun. Right, I'm going to lift that off, and I'm going to be very brave because, as I said, I'm going to use my old paper oxide, and we need to pray that the pastel doesn't get stuck to the ink. So if I take that off, and what I will do is slide that sheet of white cardstock that we used for the other stuff, and I'll pop that under there, and hopefully you can see it now. You've got those lovely pale shades. And now we get brave. Yes, we do. So in with the distress oxide, and let's see if it destroys it. Now, I will say about using chalks and pastels onto anything that's silicone-y, you're going to need baby oil to clean it off. So let's have a look what we've got. I'm going to pop this down on top. Oh, I've missed a little gap there, but that's okay. And I'm just rubbing it in with my fingers. Because of course distress oxide does dry quite quickly. It's quite different to paint. I mean, if you put a thin coat of paint on, I mean, you're still talking like 2 or 3 minutes before you've got a correct dry on it. So I'm just making sure this is making good contact, because I'm hoping the pastel is going to lift off. So let's find out. Oh, no, it didn't. So oxide ink will not lift pastel. So I might have to go and have a look for some paint now. Oh, it's very, very faint. Can you see that? I mean, I do quite like that, but it's just not dark enough. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to grab my stencil. And now that I can see that the paler shades won't necessarily work with it, I'm going to go in with all dark. Which is a shame because it's a lovely colour combination. So I'm going to go in with just the darkest one that I used. And let's get that down. I'm not going to put it everywhere, because I do like that some of that paler stuff did come off. Just going to go into those bits, I think, and peel that off. So we've got some dark areas there now. And if you're sticking with me, thank you. Yeah, because I'm having fun. Right, let's try that again. See if those dark bits show up. And this time I'm going to flip it. Just put the lid on my ink. And I'm going to give it a good old rub. It's going to make a usable background anyway. It's just an interesting experiment. So now let's lift off and see what we've got. No, it didn't alter it much at all. It did make the other stuff darker though. Which means that obviously I've got to clean that with baby oil now. But I'm just going to grab my stencil and put that down on there. And then just go into a few areas myself. But I still do like the graininess of it from pulling it from the plate. I still think that looks nice. And of course, now that I'm doing it this way around, it means I can use my paler shades and just go in on top of that. So one thing I have discovered today is that oxide ink will not pull pastel, but I know paint will. Paint will pull anything. It's just getting your timing right for lifting it off. Let's get that back in position. That will do there. And then I'm having some paler here. Let's have a look. So I think that looks nice. That's pretty. I'm just going to move those out of the way and give it a tap to get any excess smoosh off. And I'm going to use another stamp, I think. And my ink splatter, if I can find it. I don't know whether I just took it off to clean it. Yeah, I think I did. Just 1 second while I go and grab it. Right, so I went and fetched it, and we're going to ink it up again. I'd moved it over to the sink so that I could wash it. And trying to think. I'm going to go off paper a bit with this. And I've got a solid butterfly stamp, and I'm going to use that one. And I think I'm just going to go there. Now you can get your sparkly pens out and stuff, and do some lovely little dots and things. And I might do that, but I've just inked up my butterfly. And I'm going to go there. Ooh, isn't that pretty? I like that. So of course you can use your white paint pen, and you can use your sparkly pen, and I've got both here. So I think first of all I'm going to do a few white dots just to help it along the way. Make sure you give your pen a shake. So I've got a few little white dots there. I will pick this up after to show you. But I have got my camera dropped down quite a bit. So the nice thing about having a gel plate, of course, is that you can just have fun. And then I've got my sparkle pen, and I think I'm going to do a few sparkles around my butterfly. And these are usually things that people can't see until they hold them into the light. But they're just really pretty little finishing touches. And then I'm putting some here as well, along with the white. Just a few. Because it's nice to have fun. I've got a little space there that I missed, so I'm going to sparkle that spot up. So I just think it's really nice that the plate actually fits the layering pieces for the folio. There's just a little extra something that you can do. I'm going to have some little stripy bits on my butterfly of sparkle. There, let's have a look at that. Move that out of the way. See how close we can get. There we go. It's got little sparkles. I do love those pens. They're my favourite glitter pens. Go again there. So there we've done two different doodads using the jelly plate. So if you didn't want to be blending and you wanted more kind of texture and stuff instead, I just think that looks really, really pretty. And then we've got this one, which I think looks like a giraffe. And I quite like that you can see the yellow coming through the black. That's quite unexpected, actually. So I do like that. Came out transparent. Right, I thank you so much for joining me today. I had lots of fun. I'm sorry I took so long. But it was great, and I do hope you have an absolutely awesome day. And these elf gels, whatever they're called, I will link below. Bye.